Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. This is your host, Steve. I'm super excited to be working with Eaglemoss to bring you the Back to the Future Build Your Own DeLorean, issue number 6. Welcome back, everybody. Here's the magazine for Back to the Future DeLorean, issue number 6, and here's the parts. This time we assemble the right front suspension components. So in just a second I'll take these parts out, we'll get a closer look at them, we'll look at the magazine, and then we'll assemble this issue. I'll be right back. Here's the magazine for issue 6, and as we open it up we can see it right away. It tells us what parts we have included with this issue, and also tells us how we can subscribe to this. If you want to subscribe to the Back to the Future Build Your Own DeLorean, head down to my description below and I'll give you a link on how you can do so. Anyway, this is a fantastic build. It's, once again, this is available to US market, and if you head over there it's not too late to sign up for it. But anyway, we get in right away into the build of the right front suspension, and you saw earlier on the previous issue we assembled the left front. So we got a lot of work to do here, and I already know what to watch out for on that. But anyway, we'll move on with that, and we'll get right into the article, The Bully for Him, how Thomas F. Wilson was cast as the bully Biff Tannen. So, good old Biff, right? And the younger Biff and the older Biff. And then we move over to the prime locations of the back lots where they filmed Back to the Future. A couple, 4 pages dealing with that. And how they filmed the enchantment under the sea dance, which this is the time traveler's guide for that. And then they give us a preview on what we'll receive on issue 7, the steering rack and front plate. And so don't forget, after this issue I'm going to show you guys the deal with the binder that we get for these magazines to keep our magazines nice and clean and straight for future reference in case we need spare parts or something like that. Something's going on with your model and later on, then you'll have the magazines to show you how everything went together. So let's get started. I'll be right back. Here are all the parts as they are presented inside the blister pack. I'll take them out. Let's get a closer look. Here's a closer look at all the parts for issue 6. And we get the front disc assembly, the spring, the shock absorber, brake caliper, front tie-in, control arm, upper and lower suspension links, positioning column with spring, and of course all the screws that came with this issue. We got 2 DP screws, 3 CM, 3 BM, 4 DM, 3 AM, 3 EM, and 2 AP. Everything is metal except for the brake caliper and the little positioning column itself. I'll be right back and we'll start with step 1. Alright, in step 1 we will assemble these 2 front suspension components. And just like issue 5, we are going to slot this into this bracket here, and we have 2 screws we have to install, one on each side. We'll need to align the holes here for this, making sure that this part here is on top. This is actually the top, just like that. So we're using 2 AM screws for this. And remember, like what I said before, don't over tighten these. If you over tighten them you could break them, and then if you break them you're going to have some problems there. So we'll go ahead and get these installed. Get these holes lined up. and I'm just going to get it started on one side. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so they are installed there, and I'm just going to position them where I can see them, and I'm not going to over tighten them. And that appears to be good enough for that. Maybe just a little more on this one. There we go. Like I said, I don't want to over tighten them because I don't want to break them. And then next we'll install the shock absorber. We need some BM screws for that. 2 BM screws to be precise. This one's a little tougher to do. It's going to have to slide through this bracket here, and then we need to line up the holes on each side, put the screws in on each side. So this is where it gets a little difficult, getting this lined up and getting the screws to go in correctly. Okay, that took. Perfect. Now we need to do the other side. Perfect. Now what I want to do is kind of look at it here to see how tight I want to make it by looking at the bottoms of the screws. I don't want it to be too tight, I don't want them to be too loose, and I don't want to break them. That looks good. Now we'll take and put our spring in like that. Then we got to find our DP screws, I believe it is. So we'd be using an EM screw on the top to hold it in place. There's a lot of pressure on this spring when we do that. So I want to have everything ready to go. There's our EM screw. Now we'll take and put this in place. We want to push it down, get access to that just like it shows, and put our screw in. Okay, it's started. So we finish it off here. And there you go. All done. Next we're going to install the control arm, and we're going to use 2 of the longer CM screws for that. And just as before, we'll make sure the flat part is on top. Simply just going to line up just like this on each side, and we'll put our screws in. Just like we did before, we're going to take the first screw, we're going to feed it through the hole, and we're going to feed it through until we feel it hit the detent of the other hole. Just like that. And then we'll screw it in a little bit. Turn it over. Do the same on the other side. There we go. And this is where we want to be careful once again. We don't want to over tighten these, because if we over tighten them, they will break and then you have a real problem on your hands. You just want them to be secure, and you want them to be loose too so stuff can move. So I'm going to make it to where I can see it real good, and I'm just going to tighten them down a little bit on each side. That's pretty good there. We'll go a little tighter on this one here. And I think that's it. That should be enough to keep that secure. Okay. Where the flat edge will come in contact with the magnet. So this, we're going to use 2 DM screws. Let me get those out. And just as I did before, I'm going to install the bottom one first, where I can get it lined up here. Okay, let's do the top one now. Get it lined up first. Now I need to tighten it up a little bit here. Make sure everything is tight. Here we go. That should be good. Take the brake caliper over here like we did before. And then link and pin assembly here. Put the screw, the spring on it, on the pin here. And we need a DP screw. Here's our DP screw. And we're going to slide that in just like we did before. A little spring action going on there. I'm just going to secure that DP screw on there on the end. Next we're going to install our caliper, and just as before we're going to line up the 2 tabs correspond with the caliper. Just going to snap in place kind of like that. Then we'll put our AP screw on top. There it is. And lastly, got to get a DM screw. And we'll take and pop this in with the magnet, line up the hole right there. We'll put our AP screw in, our DM screw. Once again, we don't want to over tighten it, so we don't want to break it. That should be good. And then we have that action going on with the front wheel. And there you have it. We've completed the front right suspension for the DeLorean. And if you haven't done so already, please go down to the description below and subscribe to this fantastic build. US subscribers, it's available right now. It's not too late for you to sign up. I've had a lot of fun with this, and if you're just careful with these suspension parts, you're not going to have any problems. Don't over tighten the screws and things like that, because if you do, the screws more than likely will break. So you want to have stuff that's loose, and it's not going to hurt anything in that case. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you can get notifications on any future videos I might come out with. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Happy modeling, everybody. Take care.